Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome to Bringers of the Light Sunday for this fun adventure as we start in the month of June. We are back this Sunday with our book that we're working on together on our Sundays, which is our Bringers of the Light Maui series. The first in that series, Hula High. I want to welcome you in. You would join me here. Whether you're new, whether you've been here a while, let's join me around the sacred circle as I wrap us all in love, light, and light love. Inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians. As I kind of get up and kind of walk around, there's a little bit of a spooky sounding wind coming in from the windows. It's just very windy today. There was a little thunderstorm earlier. And it's got a little bit of a fall sound. All right. Well, we have a very interesting chapter today. And this is the start of a new month. I feel like there's some opportunities to do like a mid-year review here coming up in the channeling. And I'll share that in just a moment when we read our chapter. You may be feeling like you've had a very busy first 6 months of the year. I know if you pay attention to the channel at all on a regular basis, I have been cranking out the content. I think I have been posting pretty much every day on YouTube and the podcast, and I post pretty much almost every day on Instagram and TikTok as well. I'm sometimes posting multiple times a day with a short in the mornings and an audiobook chapter or something else. Last week was a very kind of harrowing kind of week for everybody that I've connected with. And so I've got some shows coming up next week to talk about a couple things. So I think we should do something for the mid-year, a look ahead or whatever. The other thing I want to talk about is this thing called the Venus. You can call it a Venus Cazimi, but it's something else. It's a little bit more than that. It is Venus kind of conjunct the sun at a particular degree point. I think it's 14 or 15 degrees of Gemini. But in listening to the astrology about this particular alignment, this is closing out a 4-year period of Venus in Gemini at this degree point where not exactly 4 years ago, but 4 years ago in June of 2020 when Venus was in retrograde in Gemini, it was at a point where I guess Venus was called kind of at its lowest point or its detriment or whatever. And now it's being called, this 4-year cycle is being called Venus like in its full bloom. Something may have happened for you in June of 2020 that's closing out now. I know for me during that specific time period, it's just stuck in my memory banks because my guides presented me with a very big revelation back then, something I was not expected, something that kind of rocked my world, and thus began a 4-year journey of aligning myself to, I guess, a better future, so to speak, especially around where relationships are concerned. It was where I realized I was on some sort of, weird twin flame journey thing where I did a lot of really intricate and detailed spiritual work around clearing karma from past relationships. And so there may be something similar for you. Think back to June of 2020. I mean, like I said, it's just stuck there for me as a moment in time where I was like, what? And my guides were very direct and open with me. They just told me, it really took like a channeling in my brain of like 2 sentences. And I mean, it's like set the stage for the next 4 years, and really like kind of like was very unexpected news. Kind of expected, but unexpected. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So maybe we'll dive into that and see what is the next 4 years of this Venus new degree point thing, or new, cycle going to hold for us, because I think that it's a pretty significant one, having to do with divine feminine energies. The other thing I'll be doing is posting up next week some healing shows for us. So I've kind of like this working in threes. I did 3 pick a card readings last week, back to back, 3 different days. Because that's the other thing that I wanted to go into, because something interesting is coming up regarding finances for people. It may not be everybody, but it's everybody listening to this, and it's everybody that has responded or commented to me based on some of the things I have been sharing, on my Instagram and on some of my shows that I did. Something strange happened last week with people's worlds getting a little bit rocked with situations coming up about finances. And it was like bringing up really old wounding around finances, maybe some old PTSD and trauma. I was listening to Michael Meyer, again, here I go with this channel name. I've been using my community tab too in YouTube a lot. So if there's any way showers I think have messages that are not worthy, but I think that you might be interested in, that's not a right way to put it, but I think that are worthy of listening to, because they're kind of coming up with, they're kind of sharing similar themes that our group, that's TLC for the Soul, is working on. Then I've been posting those in my community tab on YouTube. So the community tab stuff comes up if you're scrolling YouTube, or if you go directly to the TLC for the Soul YouTube channel, and then you can go to like the homepage. But if you scroll across like home, there's like home videos, playlist, something, and then there's something called community. You can see all my posts in there, because I don't know, how much engagement or how much those little posts show up in people's regular feeds. But anyway, they're all there. And the channeling and light language activation that Michael did for June was all about something having to change with bringers of the light folks, and having to further some sort of energetic thing coming in to help us further disconnect from the 3D matrix. And I think, yes, I'm getting big chills. I think that is somehow connected to this whole financial thing. And I know a couple of you have messaged me about that with some of your insights about what you think is going on there. And so I think that's worthy of a whole show. The other reason it came up is because 2 or 3 times I was watching a particular tarot reader, one of my favorites. She's been around for quite some time, Charmed Intuition Tarot. And she doesn't go super deep into spiritual topics. She's just a soul sister. Like, she's part of our soul group, and her energy is just comforting and cozy and relaxing to me. But the thing that she brought up is she kept getting the same card. They're the tea leaf cards, they're the round ones, and the deck has like 200 and something cards. And I was watching her the other day, and the bear card came out, and the bear was like danger, especially with financial matters. And she's like, this bear has been coming up now for a few months, over and over and over again. She does pick-a-pile readings. In all of my pick-a-pile readings, what is going on here? And then the pile that I watched, the bear came up again, and she's like, oh my God, not the bear again. And I started thinking, what kind of market are we in? Because my past 23 years in the corporate world, or however, was I there? 23 years in the one place. I was working for a mutual fund investment company, one of the top 3 in the country. And prior to that, I worked at a savings and loan and a bank. So it's weird. I've always been, and inadvertently, like, I didn't say, I want to go into the financial industry or whatever. Like, I just inadvertently, Spirit brought me to my career in the financial industry, even though in this lifetime, I didn't really know anything about finances. I never went to school. I never went to school for finances. I went to college like part-time after I already got this job, but I didn't know anything about mutual funds when I started at this company. Everything I learned like OJT, on the job training, working at a bank. I like money. I like to be around money. And I think maybe there's some wealth. There's some things we need to talk about too, about legacy money, legacy wealth, ancestral wealth. They're giving me a big chill. So I think there's a whole show coming up about this bear market versus bull market, because seeing the bear on the card made me think like, okay, that's a term, right? It's maybe not I don't know if that's a term in the entire world, in the financial world, but in the US, bear market versus bull market is like, what's the stock market doing? And I'm like, are we going towards a bear market? Because the cards keep warning people about, maybe we're headed towards a bear market, so the bear market is, yes, I'm getting chills. So the bear market is when the stock market goes down. Yes, so many chills. And a bull market is when the stock market increases significantly. So the value of any stocks or shares you might hold, rises. Oh my God, so many chills. So I'm on to something finally. I've been wanting to explore this financial topic. It's not the topic of this show, but this is just a taste, I think, of what I want to explore. And maybe that's where this kind of cautionary tale is coming up. So maybe we're headed, I know this year, is it this year? I don't follow politics. Is it this year's the presidential election? Something might be happening with the markets getting ready to change. So I was reading that we're in a bull market now. The stock market, the U.S. stock market had risen considerably. Like, I don't know, I don't follow that every day either, but it was like 20% or something. The only thing I knew about the stock market and mutual funds was working at Capital Group, an amazing company at the time that I worked there. I can't speak for what it's doing now, but and all of our retirement money went into Capital Group mutual funds. And I never had to contribute anything to my retirement fund. It was such an amazing company that they contributed like a huge percentage of your salary, like 15% a year of your yearly salary. And you could take that and invest it into whatever mutual funds you wanted. So, who wouldn't want to do that, right? Like, you're there long enough and you will have a very healthy investment retirement account. But so something's going on with the market. And people, even if you don't have like investments in stocks or mutual funds or whatever, somehow this trickle down, I don't know all the messages there, and I don't want to take this whole episode to focus on it, but I think I would really like to explore this topic more. I've been working with Archangel Ariel more. She is the archangel that is over like prosperity and wealth and abundance. We can work with her for like tithing and charitable giving and financial healing and money matters and money magic. And so she really wants us, and she's not pushing me, but I really am wanting to like sit down with her and maybe some other guides who can come in and talk to us about why this bear is so important right now and what does it have to do with us bringers of the light. I do also get a feeling like, some of us haven't been very good at managing our money. And I think it's an opportunity to get started on a different foot with understanding how the law of karma works, understanding how tithing. I think that I may be being branched out, so to speak, in my bringers of the light work to start helping people with, money management or thinking about the future. I'm not exactly sure yet where this is heading, but I feel really excited about it, and I do want to sit down and devote a show to this topic and then see where it leads. But the bear coming up is important to take note of. I know personally I had like last week a big was it Uranus was doing something, and all of a sudden it was like supposed to be unexpected communication, and out of a sudden I got an email and I was like, oh my God, what in the world? It was like very unexpected, not in a good way, thing about finances, and I had to kind of scramble to deal with it. And it made me really nervous. It brought up a lot of old PTSD stuff. It brought up some trauma stuff. And I was really like thrown for a loop. And the only way for me to get over being so like thrown off kilter by the emotions and things that were coming up was to do a bunch of service work. The When You Get Nervous, Focus on Service. And that's when I just, each day I woke up and I'm like, I'm still nervous about this. And I shouldn't be. There's something there. There's some twist. There's some twist happening. We shouldn't be nervous about our finances. We shouldn't be nervous about all that. And so there's some opportunities to regroup. And as part of that whole situation coming up, my guides were like, before your birthday, you have to do a soul retrieval. And I was like, okay, my birthday's tomorrow, the 3rd. And so I sat down on Friday and I did the soul retrieval. And then when I listened to Michael Meyer the next day, he said, this is so interesting, but he works with private clients too. He's out of Australia, but he's like, the majority of people that I'm seeing now as clients were doing soul retrieval work. And I was like, oh my God, something's going on with soul retrieval. So there's something really to explore there. And I'm really, I got to get some water. I'm really excited to explore that with everybody here because I think it's important. Some of you are younger, some of you are older, but the guys are saying age doesn't matter. What matters now with this particular topic is just getting started now. So let me see if I can open my window a little bit more. There was thunderstorms earlier and rain was coming in. Oh, the wind is so strong. All right. So do you want me to draw a card? Okay, so they want me to draw a card and then read the chapter. So they're guiding me towards one of my newest favorite decks. And I know some of you commented on like, oh my God, that deck is amazing when I did the pick a card readings. This is the Bohemian Animal Tarot. I want to get a card from this. What do you want to say about what we're talking about now or about the week ahead? If you're newer here, what we're going to do is read a channeled chapter from my book that we're writing together on Sundays. If you've been drawn in by all the audiobooks lately, all my books are channeled. All my ebooks are free to read. Google Books, Apple Books, Barnes & Nobles. My Smashwords publisher, ebook publisher is Smashwords. The links to everything I talk about are always in the show notes. I write fiction and nonfiction books, but everything is done via channeling or automatic writing. I don't plan books. I don't plan chapters. I'm not even call them characters. That makes them seem they're not real. They're real to me somewhere. They're like spirit friends somewhere. These bringers of the light stories. Spirit friends approach me in the astrals or the 5D or whatever you want to call it. And, you know, I have an etheric creative team, and I've been working with some of these spirit friends for quite many, many years now. Oh my God, going on almost 10 years. And, you know, we say like, oh, we're going to work on this book. They kind of give me a premise of what the book's about. Like, oh, this is Bringers of the Light, Maui. And I'm like, oh, Maui, you know, if you guys have been with me a while, you know my power spots, Maui, Avalon, Glastonbury, New York City, the California coast, the whole West Coast of the USA. So we've been doing Bringers of the Light from these different locations. And then they bring me in the spirit friends. They give me their names. I sit down. I create a sacred circle. I call them in. I put my hands on the keyboard, and I'm very clairaudient. That's one of my strongest spiritual gifts. All of my spiritual gifts are open, claircognizance, all of that. But clairaudience, I've gotten really, really good at clairaudience and channeling. I've written and published over 15 books now, fiction and nonfiction. And so I just I say, okay, type out chapter 1, and I just listen to what the words are, and I just type what I hear, and that's where these books come from. Every Sunday on this show, we channel in a chapter right before I hit record. I channeled in the chapter for this week, and we use that chapter as the energies of the week ahead. So this is where I say, like, if you came from the audiobooks and I'm like, you want to take this little audiobook adventure, a little bit deeper, we pull all the books are written with more than just the intention of being like a fun book. I think they're fun. But they're written with deeper intentions for healing, opening you up to spiritual gifts. You may not know it if you're just listening to it as a story, but if you can take the experience deeper, many of them are healing workbooks. We talk about that more in other places as well. Many of them are, there's just so many hidden, there's so much magic in these pages. And what we do during the Bringers of the Light Sundays is we read the chapter. The intention has been set that it's a chapter that will also, in addition to just being the next chapter in the book, will be include the energies of what's coming up for the week ahead. So in these Sunday episodes, we just tease out the metaphors and stuff that I think that the collective that is listening to this will most need to know about the energies of the week ahead. While you're listening, I'm asking you to listen with your master senses, call in your guides, see what stands out for you when I read this. Maybe 100% of everything that's in these is not going to apply to every, 100% of your week ahead or whatever, but tease out the metaphors and the meanings that apply to you and then act accordingly based on, whatever guidance you're given. But this is just a fun way to do it rather than just doing another card reading for the week ahead. But in this case, they do want me to pull a card. And they pull the top card off the deck of this Bohemian Animal Tarot. Is it the Tower? It's called the Rook. The book is amazing. I need to get the book. And then we're going to read the Hula High chapter for the week ahead too. So let me see. Oh, my dog is looking at me with such sweet eyes. Hello, hello. She's like, when are we going to go outside? Oh, it's a little early. You will go outside momentarily. All right, this card is called the Rook. Let me just look at it before I open the book. It looks like, yeah, it's the Tower card. It looks like a raven, in a beautiful dress. And, yeah, there's other ravens up at the top of the tower. There's ravens and people falling out of the tower. Let's see, card number 16. The book is amazing. I think this is an older, this deck has been around for a while, I believe. It is not brand new. 2014. All right, the Rook. Ravens and crows speak of change. I do feel like when we read the chapter, it is going to come out. The difference is that the raven offers time to ponder the change, while the crow isn't so patient or understanding. Raven allows us the opportunity to decide how we might like the change to be shaped and when we'd like it to be initiated, while the crow decides on our behalf. Whenever we say something like, I'm over it, I'm bored, or I don't like him or her, we are sending an intention out into the universe that will inevitably trigger a reply. And that reply often comes in the guise of a raven. And if we waste time or drag our feet, the crow comes second. To see many ravens is to know that the universe has received our prayers and that whatever change we require can be ours, if only for the asking. Ravens fly in flocks called unkindnesses, an unkindness of ravens. So when the raven comes, we can rest assured that something has to change and that we must initiate that change if we want to maintain control of the reins, and that the expectations on us might be harsh. It is human nature to whine and complain, though, whimpering, it's not fair, or why should I have to do it? Raven is patient and stays as long as it can with the promise of, when you know what you want and you are willing to initiate the necessary changes, I will support you and I will match your efforts dollar for dollar. Oh, this is interesting that money's coming up. But of course, being afraid, we more often than not put our fingers in our ears and feign ignorance. Oh, this might be this bull market, bear market thing. When time runs out and Raven is unable to wait any longer, she hands the torch to her dart. My throat is a little off today, so please excuse me if I cough or have to get extra water. When time runs out and Raven is unable to wait any longer, she hands the torch to her dark sister, the crow, who flies in a flock called a murder, who quickly brings endings and closure to the situation, initiating the change we need, whether we are ready for it or not. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. There's a lot to this book. Each card has about 3 or 4 pages of information, but it does say that the rook on this card depicts a tower besieged by lightning and fire. In the medieval version of chess, the rook represented a heavily armored cart that bore a driver and an archer. While this tower, with sides built high to resemble a fortified, elevated, mobile building or siege tower, while this tower was inspired by St. Michael's Tower, the Glastonbury Tor, that stands atop the Glastonbury Tor in Somerset, ravens have a long-standing relationship with the Tower of London. A captive flock of ravens are kept in the Tower of London, and it's traditionally believed that these ravens protect the crown and the tower from a superstition that states if the ravens fly away from the Tower of London or are lost to it, the crown will fall and Britain with it. Oh, interesting. There's so much here. Yeah, it talks about massive shakeup, sudden change, upheaval. I think there's some planetary alignments happening right now. And there is, I think, with the Earth Council update for June, which they want me to do first, and then they said I can go into talking about financial markets, is also something going on in the planetary energies is going to have something to do with any type of financials, whether you want to call it a crisis or something else. There looks like, were you talking about financial stuff here? Wow. So maybe some of you that have been here a while would be like, yay, that's something different. I want to learn more about that. I want to get a better understanding of how those things work from from a spirituality perspective, from the Earth Council's perspective, which are the higher councils over the planet, and how that all trickles down, and how does that affect, little old me sitting here in my house wondering what I'm doing. All right, so that is quite interesting. I got a lot of work to do coming up here. Let's read this story. Now, it's been a while, and I've debated, and I guess what I will do, there's no reason I shouldn't do it, is I've got chapter 1 and 2 of Hula High in audiobook form. So I'm going to start putting that out there so that if you want to catch up with the story, you can catch up with the story if you're just listening to it as like a fun story. Just to bring us up to speed, because we did not have a Bringers of the Light Sunday last Sunday. The last chapter was all about Hula High is Bunny and K.A. Ali. They live in Maui, Hawaii. One of my most favorite. Oh, that's a power spot for sure. Anything New Lemuria, anything old Lemuria, New Lemuria. And they're Bringers of the Light Maui. They're starting on a new quest. This is a brand new book. We started this 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't know what their quest is yet, and maybe that's where we're at. I think we might be in a little bit of a hanged man, hanged woman, hanged person, hanged starseed situation where you've been kind of wondering, like, what's happening next? It may have just felt like the same old, same old, same old. And, we had the eclipses come in. And they said they're going through a renewal right now because one of the cards on the tarot table just fell down, and it's springtime renewal. You've been going through a renewal right now in the light body. Yes, with all the solar flares. Yes, yes, yes. The eclipses and the solar flares. And so you are being primed and getting ready. This is getting ready to be ready again. This came out in one of the pick-up piles I did the other day. You're getting ready to be ready for a bunch of new stuff to pop off. It's not the first time. Things keep happening in cycles. We hear this periodically, like something new is getting ready to pop off. But this whole 4-year thing with Venus, I think, is very important. This whole financial markets thing, this whole message that the guides want to deliver for June. June seems to be a very pivotal month in the astrology as well as in maybe world events, they're saying. So we need to, when we get those types of messages that I guess you could call them, they're calling them portents. They're not calling them warnings. They're calling them portents, which is like, a sign of things to come or a forewarning of things to come, I guess. Let's look up what's the official definition of a sign, oh, it does say a sign or warning that something, especially momentous or calamitous, is likely to happen. They believe that wild birds in the house were portents of death, an omen and a sign or an indication. Okay, so when we get these types of portents, it's up to us to take notice. We're bringers of the light. We're on this planet in an advanced capacity as light warriors. Put whatever moniker on yourself you want to put on yourself, but ultimately your light was needed here, your soul signature was needed here on the planet right now to help raise the consciousness of the planet. In one of the pick a card readings I did last week, I think it was the one about your future self has messages for you. The guides were telling us through that reading that we are, sometimes you may not feel it or not, feel like it's true or not, but that we get a little bit of a special hall pass with certain things, and that it's come to my attention through just some of the realizations I had over the past 3 or 4 days that, based on, especially like some of you may be paying back some big karma working on your karma right now. I still am. I thought I was done, but they're like, no, there's one area where you're not done yet. And they didn't tell me like, well, you should feel like very blessed but they showed me like, here's kind of how you're paying this karma back. And then they had me think back to the situation that caused this needing karma to be repaid back. And, it was back in it wasn't that so much long ago. It was maybe like 20, 25 years ago. Some things that I did. I was not awakened then, and I did some things that caused unintentionally. Wasn't intentionally trying to hurt anybody, but unintentionally caused great harm to some people. Great harm, and I'm paying that back now. But I'm being allowed to pay the karma back, kind of in a way that still is fun for me. So I'm not having to do but there's a payback portion of it that's like the ideal of what I would want in this situation is not happening. And that's the part of the karma that's being paid back, is like, I basically got to work this off without seeing any payback for a really long time. Like, I don't know how long, because they wouldn't tell me how long it's going to last. But, yeah, so there's very interesting things happening right now, and we should feel very blessed because they told me, hey, your payback could have been a lot worse. The way you would have had to repaid your karma if you were any old mojo on the planet that wasn't, in this like bringers of the light soul group, could have been much, much worse. So basically, like, count your blessings and be grateful that this is how you're getting to pay this karma back. Because part of it too was a personal choice. I said, I want to pay this karma back. I want to do it in this lifetime. So I stepped up. And so for that too, I think I got a little bit of a I don't know what you want to call it. I got a little bit of a choice there. All right. This has been going on for a while. All right, so let's get on with our chapter. So the last we left off, Kellyanna, who is Bunny Witherspoon's Bringers of the Light mentor, had come in and was sharing, was going to have a meeting with a bunch of downloads coming up over the coming weeks, details that Bunny and K.A.Ali were going to need for the next part of their soul journey. And the Bringers of the Light headquarters was saying it wasn't anything bad. It was really, really good stuff. And it was time for all the souls to receive everything you had worked so long and hard to obtain. And the shift is coming. Everybody was going to have a fortuitous outcome. And then this chapter then is telling us, this chapter is called The Downloads Arrive. So this may be a little bit of a longer show today. Typically I try to keep it about 30, 35 minutes, but there's been so much to share. I think it's this mid-year thing coming up. So you may have to, I don't know, listen more than once or whatever, but all right, chapter 3 is called The Downloads Arrive. I'm going to read the chapter. If you're new here, we read the chapter, and then if you want to hear all the metaphors and all that, stick around here because we'll pull that out in just a second. All right, let me get my get my audio voice on. It was an interesting day on Maui, and Bunny and Kay both decided they needed some time away from the Poi House. Kay's auntie, Miss Sophia, ran a guided tour company who specialized in the Road to Hana tour route. Kay booked him and Bunny in for the advanced tour seekers' morning trip to Hana. It started at 5 a.m. the next day, so he figured it would be good if he had an early night. Bunny agreed, and so they decided on dinner at the fish house. Bunny's friend, Ko Ape Alani, worked in the kitchen and was able to help with getting the couple a table at the otherwise overbooked and always crowded restaurant. I believe that's actually a real restaurant on Maui. Grouper and fresh caught swordfish were on the menu tonight, and the couple was excited to be the ones being served for a while. What with the spring season wrapping up and summer getting underway, the Poi House crowd had been getting larger each day. Good thing Kay's aunties Rowena and Miss Lalani Apehona could take over the kitchen for a few days while Kay and Bunny had some fun. Not that owning your own business and making a good living doing it wasn't fun, but Kay had been working nonstop for a while, and he was feeling the tinges of burnout. This Road to Hana Seekers Tour promised action, adventure, fun, and some mystical stops to whet the appetite of those who enjoyed the magical spirituality of the island. Bunny had on cream puff pink shorts and a blue halter top with rabbits on it, while Kay sported a traditional aloha shirt that his auntie Miss Haley had gotten him for Christmas. Kay and Bunny met outside of the Poi House, and he gallantly draped a plumeria lei around her neck as she brushed his cheek with a kiss. With aunties looking on from the Poi House front porch, the two felt compelled to be on their best behavior. And with a fun night ahead of grilled fresh fish, yummy desserts, and possibly dancing under the moonlight, Kay and Bunny headed out in the Jeep. Kay turned on the music, and they both hummed to the songs on the radio. Tomorrow they would enjoy a mystical journey to Hana for a few days. And tonight, they only had eyes for each other. Lots to unpack there. But I think I'm just going to say that much of what I've already talked about is foretold or as a portent in this chapter that I've just read. There's a lot of aunties going on here. There's a lot of divine feminine energy and a lot of I think divine feminine higher level spiritual guides wanting to help us. This Archangel Ariel coming in again. She feels very divine feminine guide to me. A lot of aunties looking on and helping out Kay and Bunny. Hana, when I channeled in that they were going on a Road to Hana tour route, I'm like, wait, we did a show on the Road to Hana a while back. I had to go back in my show quite a ways. I've posted a whole ton of stuff since that. And the Road to Hana came up. That was our whole 2024 energies and goals for 2024 was the guide saying that it was going to be like the Road to Hana. So if you want to revisit that as part of a June mid-year review, you could go back to those shows. They were done in January 2024. And take a look at what we talked about for the whole Road to Hana as metaphors for the year ahead, and then do this mid-year review of where are you at with your mid-year, where are you at with your 2024, because it is coming in, it came in fast, and it seems to be, I told my son the other day, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting a little freaked out, right? Because we're enjoying the longer days here, and, we pray, please don't leave me here forever, Spirit. But the past few, I don't know how many winters have I spent in this place now. But every winter we're like, please, please just have spring and summer. Like the winters are so cold and the winters are so long. The winter weather can last for 6 months here. And finally, we are being blessed with spring weather, flowers, green. The trees have finally got leaves on them. We're talking about takes till May for that to happen here. And we're enjoying, the morning, what is it called? Like twilight starts about 4:45 in the morning, and we don't see complete darkness now till 10 o'clock at night, almost after 10 o'clock. And I was telling my son, I'm like, oh my God, the summer solstice is coming now in about 3 weeks. And that begins the descent back into darkness. So I'm already like, oh God, please, please. Oh God, not another winter. So part of it's just some acceptance of where you're at now, that things can suddenly change, like this Rook/Tower card. That good things are coming, all that stuff that the guides share with us. What else is going on in this chapter? Oops. I think many of you have been working very, very hard. Hence, you maybe need a little bit of a mid-year break. Even though, like my mid-year break will probably last like today and tomorrow. Maybe I'll take a little break. I do have for Patreon, we do our Motivational Mondays on Patreon to get our week off to a really good start. So if that's a Bringers of the Light tier and above, that we post those to. But tomorrow's my birthday, so I probably will take a little bit of a break. And, I didn't think I would still be sitting here like this for yet another birthday. It's kind of, those are some things that I'm like, you just have to accept that that's where things are at, Okay, it's another birthday, kind of hanging out, waiting. I don't even know where to go with that. But so it looks like the Road to Hana tour starts bright and early tomorrow morning. And that is, if you're listening to this when that drops tomorrow morning, that is the 3rd, 4th. And that is when this Venus, I'm going to call it a star point because I don't know what, it's called, they're saying it's Venus in her full bloom. But when this Venus conjunct the sun at 16 degrees Gemini, starts a whole new 4-year cycle. So, this Road to Hana Seekers Tour, I don't know what's going to happen there, but it looks like it says adventures, fun, action, mystical stops are going to come up. And Kay and Bunny know that that's what the spiritual journey is like. Not just their Road to Hana tour, but that's what the spiritual journey is like. I think when you said, okay, I'm going to go on this fool's journey, you kind of knew what you were getting yourself in for, and maybe you didn't know. And maybe sometimes you're like, so a couple of times over the past weekend, I've been like, oh my God, should I have just stayed in the regular world? Should I have just stayed in the Matrix? I would have been like, they're like, you would have been bored, but I was like, okay. But the journey beckons is the next chapter. And tonight, Kay and Bunny are like going out on the town, having a good dinner. I want to go to the fish house. I want to have grilled fresh fish, dancing under the moonlight, and yummy desserts. I want to hum to the songs on the radio with someone special. I want to go on the Road to Hana tour. So maybe, I would be perfectly happy if you just bought me a little bungalow in Maui and just set me down there and just let me live out the rest of my days over in the California coast on Hawaii. I would just travel back and forth between the California coast and Hawaii, and I would be perfectly happy for the rest of my days. But, who knows what the universe has in store for each and every one of us on this spiritual journey. I think knowing that we do get a little bit of a special treatment's not the right word, but like special compensation, a special dispensation, I think that is a little heartening, because it does mean that when things like this, this whole bear market thing coming up, maybe it doesn't hit us so bad if we're prepared and we know what to expect and all that. So I think I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to jot down for myself all the things I said here so I make sure I can get these shows out. I feel like everything I've talked about today are the shows that I need to do for the coming week. So be prepared for a week of the Road to Hana adventures as the guides take us down what the next maybe 6 months to a year is going to look like for everyone here. So at least the themes anyway. I can't speak individually, but they're going to give us, I think, lots of guidance and lots of advice and lots of things to think about. All right. Oh, and they're saying some of you are going to have action items. So there you go. All right, friends. So let me just check in. Let me just take a moment to pause and see if there's anything else they would like me to say. All right, so they're saying they are complete. I am complete. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my day. I'm feeling a little run down today, and I need some some quiet time for a little bit before this whole hubbub of the week ahead starts. So from all of us here at Mystic Gables, which is my house up in the great ND, I want to thank you so very much for joining me here, and we will see you all again soon. Take care.
I'm a chicken.
Don't know what poi is? Well, you're in for a treat. This episode has been brought to you by the Poi House, Maui, Hawaii's great new restaurant run by Bunny and Kay Ali. Bunny and Kay have set up a great tasting experience for poi, crab rolls, straight off the catamaran fish, and homemade lemonade. Let Bunny and Kay treat you right at the Poi House.